Good evening. This is a special meeting of the Almont Downtown Development Authority. Call to order at 6:30 p.m. Let's do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Scott White.
Present.
Steve Schneider.
Present.
Tim Dyke.
Present.
Holly Miller.
Present.
Melissa Schneider. Present. Charlie Crow.
Present.
Any additions or deletions to the agenda?
There is a new budget that is not in your packet that's separate from it with an adjustment, but no addition to the agenda. Just that's going to be what we're going to look at.
Yep. Communications, none. There's no public, so no public comments. I need an approval of consent agenda.
So moved. Second.
Motion made by Steve, seconded by Scott. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Approval of bills payable. So we have just one bill. It is the Village of Almont bill for us for the underbilling for the police for the current fiscal year. And the total, the difference of what we have paid them versus what we owe them is $5,370.33 according to their billing.
So just to briefly explain for those that weren't in the joint committee, the invoice is the first sheet, and then there is a breakdown. We didn't know, and Kim didn't really know either, that out of our current budget, even though our police line item was only, like year to date is only $3,216, we've actually already paid the police over $6,000 because when they were entering it into the payroll, it was coming out of all of the fringe benefit line items that are currently labeled DPW going forward. In the new fiscal year, we'll have new line items only for police for their fringe benefits. So we've actually paid over $6,000. And then the next few pages are what we haven't been billed yet. And that is what is included in the $5,000 invoice. Anything highlighted in yellow has not been paid. And that's what encompasses the new invoice. If there's any questions, I will be happy to try to answer them.
If you look at this page, it makes the most sense in my opinion.
Yeah, the one that's highlighted shows what we already paid.
The total is the grand total, and then you obviously need to subtract off what we've already paid. And that is the balance that they are billing us for. I felt this one was the most useful page though.
And the front of that page is useful too. It's the already billed is 6,000. Sorry, you can't really see it because it was just a receipt. 6,314. And we also, and under the equipment rental, so there's actually like 6 or 7 different line items that the police are getting billed under, not just our police line item.
And we are working to change that for the next fiscal year, so it makes a little more sense to us when we're looking at numbers. So we know what's DPW, what's police, and what's Angela's salaries.
If you watched the budget workshop on Tuesday night, we had deep discussions about that to make sure that happens. So,
Yes, I watched.
and deep discussions at the subcommittee level. So.
Yes. The only thing I would question on this bill is the admin fees. It's not something we typically pay. We don't pay an admin fee for DPW to be billed to us. We haven't.
And not at 20%.
Previously paid an admin fee for the police charges, but now because they are going back and double checking their accounting, we're getting charged a 20% admin fee. So.
I guess I also would want to know if going forward, if we should have, if the new, from what I understand from watching the council meeting, is that going forward, everyone's going to be charged an admin fee on everything. Do we need to create line items? Like, I fill out the work orders for DPW, so I'm not sure if there's going to be an admin fee on that or not. But if there's going to be an admin fee on anything, do we need a line item
I don't
for admin
understand.
fees? Because I don't
how-
even know what line item that's going to come out of.
So are we being billed by the admin fee is a police officer going through? Like, who's going through the, like,
Him,
And it doesn't matter who it is, it's
Yeah.
a 20% flat fee of the costs of the
Their
services.
labor hours. So if it's a
As I'm just,
high-ranking official versus a peon,
It
it's
does-
quite a bit more.
so it's just a total, so Dale explained it in the council meeting that it was Kim and Chief Willis that put this together.
I just did the math. It doesn't matter who does it, they are charging us
Right,
20%
right.
of the
So
sum of
that's-
what we owe them,
Yeah.
period.
That's what Steven was asking, like, so is it people, like, what's
Yeah.
the total amount? Is it people's wages? And Dale said, no, it's just a blanket 20% of whatever your bill is, admin fee. But I guess I need clarification, if that's gonna be DPW too, then we may need, I just don't know where that's getting, what GL code that's getting billed to.
I think that's a whole other conversation if we're gonna start getting charged 20% admin fees to get billed by the village to use their services as opposed to someone else.
yeah,
That makes it a lot less cost effective.
I don't understand moving forward, what I was, like, I don't think I phrased it how I wanted to before. Moving forward, admin fees, if whoever is doing their time for billing, whatever, because I know, like, I saw how they're billing minutes for checks every couple, like, so I'm assuming there's gonna be a line item for them to do an admin fee, but then on top of it, we just give the 20%.
No, the admin fee is 20% of the total bill. That's how they.
Yeah, no, I'm saying moving forward.
There's
I
gonna
was-
be an admin fee on every bill, 20% of whatever hours we used, there'll be.
And then on top of what, I mean, like, they're already billing us for the admin because the officer's putting it in, correct? Oh,
I know what you're saying, because going forward, each officer is supposed to, like, it's supposed to be a tracking. So we're already paying for their time to enter it, and then we're paying an admin. Yes, you're
I
correct.
didn't even think that far
Yes,
ahead.
correct.
yes, that's
Yep.
what we would be paying twice the thing. So
Yes, we are paying the officers to log their time and then we are paying a 20% admin fee on top of that. Yep. Yep, which I'm sure in reality only takes them minutes to log it now that they're comfortable with this new system, but still. And might as well just go there right now. We are being charged for them to do building checks on any building in the DDA district, not just special events. Which is what I assumed we were always being charged for, was special events, when we need extra coverage that is beyond the scope of, what they typically do in a day.
I guess for the sake of keeping this maybe as civil as possible, was village council aware that the police were going to be tracking this way and they are going to be tracking this way moving forward? Is that,
When you say tracking this way, what does it mean?
I guess.
With the Clemis.
I guess with the admin fees and just it being really detailed, or do you see like that may be changing?
We were aware that we're going into accounting practices where we're billing for all services, where in the past it didn't. The admin fee is something new, and I think that's something we need to look at because it was kind of new to us too.
Okay.
And if we're getting concerns raised here, then we can go back and raise those concerns.
Okay,
I can't say, because it's administration, but
Yeah,
council can have a discussion on that. I can raise that Tuesday night at the council meeting.
okay.
And I'll have to ask Chief Willis, because when you say they're doing a building check, what,
It just literally says DDA building checks on their Clemis report.
because they don't charge, I would need clarification on that, because
I just,
if a policeman drives by my house, I don't get charged a fee.
Exactly.
Yeah, so.
and that's my concern is, are we gonna get so into the weeds here that every time they step foot within the DDA boundary, are we gonna start getting billed for that? That would be my concern. Like if they are regularly checking businesses who pay taxes and are a part of the village as a whole, why is the DDA getting billed for that? You know?
That's valid, so I
Yeah.
will get those clarifications.
Thank you.
And the only other thing, like, where I guess for sometimes, because this is kind of getting maybe a little bit picky, but when for, I guess, the sake of events, special events, having the chiefs there, like whoever, the department heads there, is that more of, I thought that was more of
For their benefit,
for their
for
benefit,
publicity.
to like for community relations, and to see if we're gonna be, because I know we're getting billed for that, and we're getting billed overtime at whatever Chief Willis's rate was. And so maybe I want to see, because that's where they start to go into the weeds.
It's probably both.
Yeah.
He's there to show and do community relations, but at the same time, as you heard throughout the last couple of weeks with the police talks, police staff is limited.
Right, and I can't say from looking at their wages, I don't feel like Chiefs is obscenely more than a
No.
regular officer.
And
So I guess I don't take issue with that
And the
necessarily.
entire
Yeah.
community over the last 3 or 4 years has complained we don't have a working chief.
Mhm.
We have a working chief
We
now,
do.
so.
We do, yeah.
So
Okay.
that would be my take. I don't think he's there, I don't think he's showing up as and don't
And
take.
he's not charging us OT
Yeah,
for his
yeah,
time
Yeah,
ever.
don't take this wrong. I don't think he's showing up as a figurehead to run up the DTA bill. So-
No, I don't think he is
Yeah,
intentionally
and I don't
either.
think he's just showing up
No.
for community relations. I think he's showing up because
We don't have staff.
to help staff, but also having his presence there at a big event aligns with community.
Mhm.
And I think,
I think, Melissa, that kind of piggybacks off of what we talked about before, like where we have DPW there and we have, they have to be paid to be there because if, God forbid, anything happens, we want them to be covered under workman's comp. But we had 2 DPW guys working last year and 2 guys were just handing out stuff for village promotions, and the DDA paid for all of it, which is fine, not necessarily complaint, but I think it's like this, like where do you draw
draw the line.
the
Yeah.
line? Like the DDA didn't need all of them there. They wanted to be there to promote the DPW, but
We love that they're there.
yes, we love it.
and
We want them there.
I think that I will say that I think that this is probably more of like a budget. Like we could probably
Yeah.
discuss this during the budget part. So yeah, I didn't mean for it to get tracked down to that, but
Bell points.
yes.
For sure. So back onto this invoice in and of itself. And are we approving to pay it, or what's the plan? i.e. somebody needs to make a motion of
Yeah.
some sort.
I'm not very happy about paying the administration fees on this. Kind of just seems like a made-up number if it's 20% exactly across the board, not actual work. So I know we have to pay something and some administration fee, but
Can I ask one other question on
I
this?
guess it's tough for me.
This
to-
bill, maybe I'm not understanding. what does it mean when it says they took comp?
Sensitive.
Like,
I'm not familiar
were they
with
there or did,
how police wage works. I don't know what that means.
I guess that's something I'll have to ask him. I was
Yeah.
just curious, like, were they there or were they just using that?
It
as
could be
comp?
they took pay instead of taking in lieu of extra time off. Sometimes the way it works in the police department
Yes.
is you get extra time off if you work these extra hours.
Oh, okay,
And
okay.
so it's in lieu, and in this case, they're actually taking the pay versus banking some extra hours to be taken at a later point.
Oh, got it, okay.
That's how unions work.
Thank you.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Thank you.
Thanks,
We're not
Scott.
familiar.
I'm not either.
Right.
I should have asked him.
Yeah.
Guess if somebody's uncomfortable with the administrative fee, you can always make a motion to approve it less the administrative fee. For now. And have Dale provide additional backup or whatever you want to get that portion paid. I mean, I believe we do owe them for the wages.
Oh,
If
absolutely.
we've got an
Oh,
issue with the
absolutely,
administrative fee, then back it off for now. That's my recommendation.
Maybe that was a motion.
I was gonna say you could make that motion if you would so choose, so.
Make a motion to approve the bill minus the administrative fees that have been added to the bill, whatever that comes out to be.
I'll second.
Motion made by Scott, seconded by Charlie to approve the invoice minus the administrative fees. All in favor?
How much is
Oh,
the,
yes.
It's like
Angela's
10,000, it's the administrative fees I had somewhere in all this stuff I had. It's like
Angela's math.
1641 and some change, somewhere around there. But then again, it's,
$3,748.82.
Could you give that total again?
$3,748.82.
So Scott made the motion, Charlie seconded to approve the Village of Almont Police fiscal year 2025 invoice in the amount of $3,748.82, which is less the administrative fees. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. New business, finance. We need to amend our current year budget to meet what we've actually spent. So that's literally what it is. Does anyone have questions? If not, we just need a motion to approve what it says there. It's really long.
Shown here somewhere.
It is it this page, Angela?
It
this
is
The yellow
sorry.
column?
Huh?
Oh, no,
No, well,
sorry.
yes, it's the yellow row on your
On this
budget,
one?
but it's also
The pages before.
third to last column on the amendment report. It says Q4 final amended budget. Sorry, I should have highlighted that.
It's okay.
But yes, it's also the yellow column on the budget. So with the amended budget, we are in surplus of $42,140, which will be added to our fund balance, making our fund balance $279,068.90, which brings our fund balance percentage to 99.16%. So
does that include We haven't paid yet, but does that include the purchase of that property at all?
No.
Is that
It will happen next
No,
year.
that, they're not.
in next year's budget too?
Yeah, because they're not supposed to sign that until, that's gonna happen in the first meeting in July, so it'll be next fiscal year.
So that's why we've got, all right. All right, I'll make the motion to approve the Almont Downtown Development Authority fiscal year 2024 year-end budget amendments as presented, and to submit the approved amendments to the Almont Village Council for final review and adoption in accordance with Public Act 57 of 2018 and the Village of Almont's budgetary procedures.
Motion made by Scott, supported by Tim. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Great. Number 2, fiscal year 2025 budget. The budget has been reviewed by the clerk, by our treasurer, by me, by Angela, and the joint committee. So included in the packet is the draft budget with all of the current draft. Well, actually, it's not the one included in your packet. It's the separate one because finance committee just met before this meeting. So
And
look
the only
at
thing,
the loose one.
the only thing we changed in the green column is the number that's in blue, the police, line item, we increased it by, it was $6,000 when I sent it to everybody. It is now, we increased it by $5,000 just in preparation of the new increased wages and for whatever they missed when they double checked our billing. So we basically increased it by $8,000 from last year.
And it's a whole convoluted way we came up with this.
Yeah, it's not gonna,
Because of the fact that they're not separating lines related to the police. So you've got police and DPW benefits combined together, salaries combined together. So we kind
Equipment
of had
rental.
to talk through all of this stuff, and that's how we, in the end, came up with the additional amount.
so does anybody else want to talk about the directed contribution or do you want me to?
So when we met as a joint committee, well, I guess it goes back further than that. We were offered previously to give a $20,000 direct contribution to the police for the next fiscal year because Dale assumed that was what we had spent this current year and we just didn't know it yet. And, we would obviously exceed that next year, so it should be a cost savings. Obviously, we have found out that, it cost us about $10,000 to have police services this year. When we met in the joint committee meeting, we did discuss still doing a directed contribution. So we went back and forth on that and, of $10,000 maybe, depending on what our board decides. But also at the village council meeting, Dale has said that is now off the table. So,
But
it's not
think
his
that
choice either.
if
it's up to council, so.
And now that we already increased this year's budget, if we don't do the directed contribution, if we could find a way to meet in the middle, if we did a little more than 10, but obviously not 20. Whatever you got, if you want to be billed, I don't even know if they'll accept a directed contribution, but I can send both and it can be a council decision, or we can submit one, and if they don't accept it, then we just go back to being billed hourly.
I say we submit one. All I can say is no.
What are you submitting?
If we submit a budget with a directed contribution instead of,
Per hour,
Per
per
hour.
benefit, and all these costs, and
Equipment.
administrative fees. and
I
everything
think
else.
village administration has pulled the direct contribution option off the table.
completely, okay.
Yeah, and apologies, when we had our discussions at the subcommittee meeting, we were not aware of it. Their explanation is the reason they were offering it is because they didn't think they thought it would save you money and save village time by not having to do as much direct work on bringing out the billing. But with the new accounting practices that they're doing, they're finding out they're gonna have to do the detailed billing they're gonna have to do anyways. So by them doing that, there's no savings to the village and I guess the positive in that is we're demanding and expecting that the billings you're getting will be more detailed, more explanatory, and more frequent than getting billed $6,000 the last month of the year. Village council realizes that's not acceptable. I think we discussed that at the subcommittee meeting. It's not an excuse, but village staff just started in the last 6 months working on this new accounting practice of charging for all services. Police Chief Willis did not have the CLMS system up and running until 2 or 3 months ago, and is still trying to figure out some of the detail on that. Not excuses, but he came in and had to clean up a mess himself. So we're hoping over the next year that will improve, and both village council and at the subcommittee level, we will be monitoring how that's going so we can react to it a few months from now instead of next June. So.
Okay, so strike off the far right column because it's not happening.
You said that was the village council or just like the administration,
Originally, Dale offered the 20,000
okay.
straight fee. Subcommittee negotiated that down to 10,000 as a starting point to see where the billing went next year. At Tuesday's budget workshop, village administration determined that the reason they were offering it was because they thought it would save the DDA money overall and the village staff time overall, because they wouldn't need as much of a detailed broken out billing. But they're finding that the way the billing's going, they're going to have to do that anyway. So at that point, it was removed. It was removed as an option.
So, any questions on the proposed budget, which is in green, the green column? You will see we're taking the car show revenue and we're just adding it to Heritage Festival revenue. We're putting it all in one bucket. It's easier. We don't need to break it out. There's no reason to. It is all one event. So we added that
There's also a lot
together.
of things that kind of overlap, so it's
There is,
a
yes.
really big hassle to try to figure out where to.
Yep, it's never truly accurate anyways, so.
Is that including that 35,000, including what we got this past year for refunds and reimbursements?
Funds and reimbursements for what?
So are we anticipating that the
Refunds and reimbursements, that's the light
was
pole
the insurance.
in 2024.
Yeah.
So we are anticipating that the Heritage Festival is going to cost us about $9,000 more this year?
That's revenue.
Or coming in?
Mhm.
That's.
I'm sorry, coming in. Where do we anticipate?
We took all the car show revenue away because we're
Yeah,
removing that
yeah.
line item. So all we did was add that to the.
But that
Okay.
doesn't math. That should only be like 25,000 then.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking, because it looked like it was about the same, if we included the refunds and reimbursements, that was about 35,000. So that's what I thought where you're getting the number from. But if we're not, then
That may have. I went through so many different.
Yeah, no.
Different variations of this. You might be right. So want to move that down to 25,000.
I think that should be 25,000. Yep. Good catch, Melissa.
Yeah. The
Uh,
Heritage Fest revenues.
yep. It should only be 25. I mean, it might be more, but we are not anticipating $10,000 more than last year now. That's a lot.
So that would bring it down to 279.
Yep.
Okay.
And I have to email Kim a clean copy of this directly after this meeting, so I'll email it out to all of you as well, just so you know what. Don't have to write all of this.
The other thing, so we're anticipating then there's the social security, all these benefits, the social security, DPW, the pension, hospital, health savings, and life insurance. Those are we're anticipating that the police are still gonna be billed under those line items, right?
No, and
No,
that's,
they're gonna move them and change them, but right now,
Yeah.
because we don't have the details, we can't separate.
yes, they will still be equally distributed amongst those categories, but we will have now, all of those categories at CDPW will have new line items that will say the exact same thing, but police.
So we
So they will
will,
still be
we're definitely
distributed
gonna have to amend our budget, obviously, because
Yeah.
things like the coding is going to change. So, but for now, that's where we're gonna put it.
Yeah, so then even though if we're including part of those portions in there for for the police, you're anticipating $11,000 in addition to that? Okay.
Yes, we put the $11,000, we increased it by $8,000 in the police line item, only because we have no idea how to distribute that throughout. So in that line item, we basically included the new invoice.
Okay.
And then.
Yeah, so you'd have to add all those
And
different
then I
lines up
don't
to
know
get a
how it's
total.
distributed amongst everything else, so we included the new invoice into that and a couple $1,000s more in case because we've been told that we should owe more than that. That's just all they could track.
And I would have done that for us, but evidently we can't get this budget in Excel. It's an impossibility from Kim, so. Had we been able to get it, I could have manipulated it and made it look real, but that's just not an option.
The other things, I'm sorry,
No, you're
should
fine.
have came to the finance meeting, I feel like. Why are we anticipating operating out between office operations, operating supplies,
So,
and
go ahead.
and postage? Oh, I know that it went from 0 to 200. It's like up over $1,000. So are we anticipating getting billed more from?
So I should not have done this. I put the year-to-date actual here, I should have put our 2024 budget here. I kept postage the same. It's just always been $200, usually around Heritage Fest.
Because we mail out to all the car show people.
Mail it out this year. I used the Villages thing and they charged me to operating supplies, I believe. Didn't go to postage. It went to a different line item. So operating supplies is like clipboards, the laminator for Holiday, the paper cutter, like just stuff like that. Office operations is what the village charges us for rent. It was $3,500 last year. They increased it to $4,000 this year.
Okay.
And I believe under operating supplies is where our copies go as well.
Okay.
And then postage, I just kept what it has always been.
Okay. No, I think that I was wondering why we don't anticipate the maintenance and service contract for LDC.
We're not renewing it, and
So
neither is the village.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we've had, the things that they do for us, Kim can do, and it was, it was hard to get.
It was not
those-
done right this year.
Yeah, it wasn't done. I had to call the county because the wrong amounts were sent and they had to issue us multiple checks.
Simplest to say, we were not getting our value for the price we were.
Correct. Yep, we weren't getting the value and our
Kim can
clerk
provide us the
can do it
service.
and she would rather just do it than have to go back and forth. And the village is not either. So we figured if they aren't, then
Okay. And should we increase the amount of money that we're putting for legal fees?
For what?
Legal fees?
Legal fees.
It says $2,000. How much should we actually spend?
so year to date it's 1,786.
Okay, so we did get a new attorney and their rates are a little bit more expensive.
Mhm.
I don't know if we wanted to put a little bit more aside in anticipation that until
Yeah, until we go through like
our social media policy
In the bylaws?
and the bylaws, because.
Well, the social media policy is not on us, that's on the
Yeah.
village.
Social media, yeah, social
Yeah,
media
but the
policy.
bylaws, yes, I'm sure there will,
hopefully
we
we
haven't gotten a bill for that even yet, have we? No, so, and I'm sure that was a decent amount of time that she put into that, so. It's not a terrible idea.
you want to go to 25 or 3? What is she? She's like $350 an hour. So
250, is she
250?
250?
250. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
I was thinking maybe 3.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
I don't have anything. Good calls. So if no one has any other questions, comments, suggestions, we just need a motion.
I want
Mhm.
to make sure I'm representing right when I bring this up. The admin fee issue. We're not fully opposed to an admin fee if there's a realistic charge for that fee. But if there is an admin fee, you would like a line item explanation of what that admin fee is and what the charge is and what it's for, correct?
I mean, I personally am very against it. It is a cost of doing business to bill people out, so I'm against it, but I don't know how everyone else feels.
I said that I'm not opposed to admin fee if it was, I know they're catching up. I don't know, like, moving forward, if I think that moving forward, I do not want an admin fee. That's why I'm disappointed about the direct contribution because I'm worried about things getting nitpicky when it comes to their new billing system, and now I can see that things could potentially create issues where we're picking certain officers. We don't want overtime. We only want a few hours or certain things because we're worried about our budget, and or looking over things, but that hopefully won't happen. I'm going to remain positive because that's off the table now.
Well,
We can't change that, but I think that moving forward, I don't want to pay administration fees. But for past billing, I can understand if they weren't grouped into what we were paying.
I can't because it's not our fault that they didn't.
I know.
That they didn't bill properly in
But
the
I
first
would,
place.
if it was them gathering that data, to bill us more. If it was a small fee, I might be okay with paying it, but if it's a larger fee, then it might, I don't know what to say. Where my
Well,
mind
and
would
just
be.
for instance, so if we legitimately spend $15,000 in police services next year, and they're gonna tack a 20% admin fee on top of that, that's another $3,000 we have to tack onto our budget.
So that's where I was kind of coming from, like it's not my decision or vote. I was just like, logistically speaking, if we're gonna start getting thousands of dollars in admin fees, first I need to know, is that all village services? So are we gonna start getting admin fees from DPW? And budget-wise, if we are getting admin fees for all village services, I just need to know where we're putting that. So I would need more line items for admin fees for police, admin fees for DPW. I can talk to Kim about that, though, you don't.
Okay.
And my only thought on the admin fees is, like a FOIA, it goes by how many hours and the person who did it's wage. So for admin fees, I feel like that would fall, for the police, that would fall on the secretary. I understand it didn't this time because it was a new system and they were trying to go back and track. My thought would be, if we're gonna pay an admin fee, it should be that person's wage for how many hours, or like a FOIA quarter of an hour it took them. I'm not, they have to pay her somehow, their administrator. I get that. Or even if it's Chief Willis doing it, it took me, it took him 1 hour this month to go through and do DPW's tracking. We pay for that extra hour, but I don't have a vote. That's just the logic I was thinking of. But I don't think the village is going to change their admin fee process.
Probably not, but council, I can bring it to a discussion so at least council can talk about it and and I will raise the concerns brought from this board. So.
Admin fees are the new norm. You pay them when you go to gas stations, but they're not 20%. I can see 5 to 8%. You
Well, that's a
charge
credit
4
card
or
fee.
5% at a gas station, but not 20.
Right, and we're not paying
That's
via credit
exorbitant.
card.
But in this day and age, if you pay by credit card online, you
Right.
cover their fee. So that is not out of the norm. I can understand that and see that because that's a given, it's a billing fee. But 20%, no. That's basically adding revenue to your bottom line,
Okay.
period. So that's my 2 cents.
I just want to get clarification so I represent this
Yeah.
board correctly when I bring it up to the council. And the only other thing I have to say before we make the motion is finance team, thank you for all your diligence in making this happen. I know it was a lot of work. I'll make the motion that we approve the Almont Development Authority fiscal year 2025 budget as presented and to submit it to approved budget to the Almont Village Council for final review and adoption in accordance with Public Act 57 of 2018 and the Village of Almont budgetary procedures.
Support.
Motion made by Tim, supported by Melissa. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Cool. Thank you. Discussion? None. Old business, none. Public comment, none. Board question and comments, anyone? I'm not gonna go around the table this time. It's not like it's a regular meeting, but does anyone have anything to say?
I would just like to put a formal request in that, for next year's, if I'm still part of this, I would like this in
Perfect.
Excel format. So somebody needs to beat it into her head that she needs to share. So that we can have a working,
I can
document.
share for you the Excel document that I've made of our budget, but it only has,
but the bill, she has the ability to download. So if we want to see the history and the detail, like all of the stuff that we've been trying to explain to Melissa and everybody, I could have easily separated out in lines had she sent me the detail that I asked for when we started this process 3-4 weeks ago. And then I understand her computer crashed, and then it just kind of got swept under the rug. And I guess she's really hard to deal with in terms of giving out information. Well,
It's just the raw data.
I just want a raw data download. It can be in a CSV format. I don't care what it comes in.
Okay.
Something I can manipulate and use.
Well, I can send you, when I send this budget out, I'll send you my Excel spreadsheet for this document, at least.
But I'm just saying for next year,
To
when we
start
get
with,
the,
yep,
next year,
yep.
when we start this process and we download the actual activity, so then if something does look strange and we don't need to chase people around, we can usually see the line items and pick out what's abnormal within that line item. Simple as that. That's my 2 cents.
Thank you. Anyone else got anything?
Thanks for being here on a Friday.
Yeah, thank you.
Right?
everyone, to
Thank you
being
all
here
for
on Friday.
spending your Friday with us.
I remember the good old days when DDA and village council were working collaboratively. The good old days.
What is this?
When was that?
What is that?
That's what we're working towards
We
at
are.
one point in time, and
We still are.
blew up in our face.
No,
It's been.
we still are.
I feel like we're,
We can disagree on things and still be working
There's some
together.
problems, but I think right now it's been the best relationship we've had in a long time.
Yeah.
Well, let's keep that in mind. That's what we want. That's always the goal. And so I hope that can be the focus, even if there are disagreements and we're seeing things done less than perfectly.
I don't want to speak for everyone here, but I feel like I can. Everyone on the DDA board wants to pay our fair share of village services that we've used. We love our police department. We love our DPW. We want to pay for what we used. It was just a little bit of
This whole,
Shock.
it was a shock, and it was just, it took a lot of communication at the joint committee meeting to figure out what was actually happening. So,
3 hours.
Yeah,
Yeah.
3 hours, over 3 hours.
Yeah.
yep.
Was it? I
So-
skated out, so.
But I think
But with that said, we're understanding, we're working through that kind of a difficulty that was not correctly, that invoice was not sent, should not have been sent that way. And going forward, we know now what to work and look for in the early months of this next fiscal year to make sure we're setting the pattern and if they say, well, if we have charges out there, but we can't get it to you yet, well, the village needs to start getting us that information because we can't operate that way. We
Yeah.
can't fiscally.
There's no reason they can't do it at least on a quarterly basis.
Right. And that was discussed at the workshop, so.
Following up on Scott's comments, the word that comes to mind is overreach. That's the gut reaction.
Yep.
Okay. If nothing else, let's adjourn this meeting at, I can't read that, 7:18. Thank you, guys.
Thank you guys so much for being here on a Friday.
Yes, thank you.
I appreciate it, and I know council will appreciate it, getting it Monday morning instead of right before their meeting Tuesday.